I spend all my money, bought a big old fancy car for these bright-eyed honeys. Oh yeah, you know who you are. Keep me up till the sun is high, till the birds start calling my name. I'm addicted and I don't know why. Guess I've always been this way. All these roads steer me.
And welcome back to Let Your Voice Be Heard on WHCR 90.3
Selena, what is wrong with
FM,
you?
the voice of Harlem. What?
You seem like unsure.
Yeah.
And welcome back. Well, for me, welcome back because I wasn't here last week.
Definitely. Welcome back to Patricia.
Oh, thank you.
She's back. You know what I called? I think last week I was like, I know everyone's going to miss her sultry voice and giggles and her many giggles.
Sultry voice?
I just miss her sandwiches.
Oh,
And then that's exactly what Stanley said last week.
Oh, my God. You know what? I actually, usually when I'm not here, I listen. But I was so sick, I was sleeping the whole time. And my boyfriend Sammy actually told me, he's like, why weren't you listening to the show today? Usually when you're home and whatever, you listen. I'm like, I didn't even care today. But I did hear it later.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't hear it live. Usually, like, I hear it live, like, if
Yeah.
I'm home, even if I'm busy. But I just couldn't. I couldn't even talk. Like, my voice was gone.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm getting better, though. I had a bad cold, guys, last week. That's why I wasn't here.
Laryngitis, right?
Everything-itis.
Are you contagious?
No, it's gone.
She
Okay.
is, Selena. She's turning people into zombies.
Only if we kiss, and I don't think we're going to do that.
Oh, okay, cool. So, if you guys don't know, my name is Selena Hill, and that's Miss Selena Hill, MS Selena Hill on Twitter. You can holler at me there and Instagram.
You should just rename your Twitter name to just awkward. But that's what you are right now.
How
You're
am I
super
being
Oh,
awkward.
you're not awkward. You started a little bit like, I'm not sure if we were here last week, but you're done. You're not awkward anymore.
Oh, okay,
I
thank
disagree.
you.
You are raging in awkwardness right now.
You know, I get that often. I'm
That's her normal.
Yeah,
you said that
exactly.
once, right? You're like, oh, I'm maybe an awkward. Oh, this is normal for me.
yeah, no, it's true. Like I've been getting that since college. We were like, that was really awkward. Do you not like me, Selena? What are you talking about? So,
Go ahead, Selena.
Patricia,
And this is Patricia Valoy at Besito86 on Twitter.
and we have Stan the Man on the ones and twos and YouTube
Yes,
downloading
and
our clips.
I was actually on YouTube just now, and yeah, this is Stanley, your favorite engineer. I had a really good Friday with Selena. I really wanted to mention that.
You do?
Yes, I can.
Are you guys dating now?
Not at all. Absolutely not.
Hold on. Can I just shout out
Go ahead, Selena.
Danielle, our intern with the Santa Claus hat.
I like that hat.
I know, I like that too. And Kwanzaa, who is also sick and also here, our events manager / business administrator. I'm sorry.
Kwanzaa has the Benz currently, but she will be okay.
Gout is gout.
Yes. She was doing some work on the Brooklyn Bridge and went too far down too fast, and now she has the Benz.
Okay, so what's up? Oh, yeah, Stanley, Friday, we went to the WHCR holiday party.
Yo, yes, we did, and it was definitely a lot of fun. If you missed it, you should make sure you come back next time we have a party.
How much fun did you have, Stanley?
Selena, I was eating chicken and doing a two-step at the same
they have fried
daggone
chicken?
time.
Of course they
No,
had
it was
fries.
barbecue chicken. They had
They
fried
didn't
chicken?
have, I think they had fried fish.
Southern
okay.
Whiteys, you know how they get down.
I
That's
know.
right.
Something fried.
Yes.
Exactly.
My arteries were clogged and happy. But
Yes. It was really good food. We had a great time. We met a lot of people there and we represented for Let Your Voice Be Heard. So
Definitely. Brother Leroy was sitting there chilling in the cut.
I know.
Just sipping on his ginger ale, rocking out. You know how Brother Leroy get down.
And Stanley was there trying to dance with the elder women, trying to get it all.
I actually,
Elder women.
I-
Oh my God.
Yes, I actually sprained my ACL trying to do the electric slide. So I'm on crutches right now, guys.
I
But I
can't
will be
right
okay.
now.
And
Okay.
then- but afterwards, no.
Yes.
I gotta call you out something because afterwards we stopped by our reverend, my reverend, Selena's old reverend and friend Darren Ferguson, and he was having a benefit for his church, and I haven't been to church in a while, so I guess I forgot. At one
Did you
point,
burn as you walked through the door?
yeah, my skin felt a little hot, right? So I repented, and I was cool again. But Darren's like doing this really slow, soulful song, and I'm like, wow, this is great.
He
and
said,
then he goes,
Jesus is the center of my life.
are you tired? Everybody's like, no. And then the drums started going, and then women started twerking, and people were doing the stanky legs. And Selena was up. She's like, this is kind of Jesus I'm talking about. I was like, it was.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't realize church could be that fun. He's like, you tired? Everybody's like, no, stomp for Jesus. Stomp. Do the cat daddy for
What
Jesus.
it was very it was relieving.
That is so
because
funny.
we did a lot of exercise, a lot of stress relieving
No, that is
exercise.
cool.
and a lot of dancing
I would be more
and
interested.
singing.
I would be more interested in going to church if I could dance while I'm there.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to growing up Catholic. I was still Hispanic, so we would have parties also that we did have some, like merengue playing and all that stuff. But during actual mass, you got to be quiet and just sit down.
Okay, so
Guys, I'm sorry.
I want to say that there's actually breaking news. The brother of Adam Lanza, that is the shooter of the Newtown school massacre, he has finally spoken out. I just received this news on my cell phone, like momentarily, and I just want to read what's going on.
Yes. do that.
Okay, so Ryan Lanza, the older brother of the Sandy Hook elementary shooter, Adam Lanza, says he's a victim of the massacre by losing both his mother and brother. In a message to the New York Post via Facebook, Ryan says, "I am a victim. I lost my mom and brother." TMZ also reports Ryan also posted pictures of his brother and mother, each with a message underneath. For his brother, he wrote, "I will miss you, bro. I will always love you as long as you live." And for his mom, he wrote, "I miss you, Mom. I love you so much. You will always be in my heart." So, I mean, but hold on. The Post claims Ryan is responding to posts wishing that his brother would rot in hell.
Oh, so
Ryan,
well, but, that's a little more what I expected from him.
well, he's defending him. He's saying, "I'm so tired of people blaming me for something my brother did. I love Adam, but you have no right to call my brother names when he isn't here no more. Just let my brother rest in peace. Please respect that."
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I'm not endorsing what Adam did. I'm not saying what he did was awesome, but you know what? He's still someone's family member, and you
respect his family.
Yeah, even if you have like someone who's messed up, there are still people who love them. And you know what? Like, he's dealing with enough stuff trying to go through losing his mother and his brother. You don't necessarily need people going, "Oh, he should burn in HELL," or sending rude
I thought that he
messages.
said that himself. Somebody said that to him.
Yeah, he was responding to posts that he was receiving saying that his brother should ride him.
I see.
And all this.
Why are you attacking the family? Honestly, listen, this guy was messed up. What he did was completely, utterly wrong. I don't really believe that there's a hell, but I kind of wish there was one right now. And I hope that he's there. I hope he's burning in there right now. But his family has nothing to. His brother at least had nothing to do with that. He didn't raise him. He didn't do that to him. He didn't cause anything. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I don't know their relationship, but I wouldn't want if my family does something, I don't want somebody attacking me.
No, I get what you're saying.
Guys, I'm sure, like, you're listening out here and you probably have an opinion on this. Feel free to call us 212-650-6903. And Kwanzaa is on the computer. So is Danielle. They're banging on the Twitters. You can tweet us your opinions at BeHeard_radio. As someone who grew up in a neighborhood where you have family members who are in jail for different things, I had one of my good friends who's in jail right now for double homicide, killed 2 cops. That's not an awesome thing to do on any level, but I still loved that friend. And if someone was posting disparaging things on my wall about them, I'd be upset. I'm not happy about what they did, but at the end of the day, I didn't know the killer. I knew the person.
No, and I get what you're saying, Stanley.
I mean, I was still just not get along with that person anymore, but that's my personal thing. I'm like, I'm done.
So speaking of tragedies, today on Light Voice Be Heard, we're starting off the show. We're going to be speaking about the Central Park 5. A lot of people do remember this case. It was internationally renowned. I brought it up to my mom last night, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I definitely remember that case." In 1989, 5 Black and Latino men were wrongly accused and convicted for raping a white woman. Race was a huge factor in this case, as well as class. And these teen boys basically lost their teen lives and their teen years to imprisonment, and they're still fighting for justice, retribution, apologies, just something.
It gives me the chills just thinking about it. And I wasn't living in the U.S. when that happened, so I didn't learn about it until much later. I was probably already in high school.
2 years old.
No,
1989.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about that as well? For me at least, I was heading over here. I looked at the New York Post, and there was a black woman who falsely accused a couple of white guys for rape, and it obviously ended up being wrong. And the New York Post was like, "How dare she not apologize?" And I was just thinking,
wow,
yeah. And what about these?
It's like the opposite. Then it's just like, "Oh well, we were wrong. Deal with it."
And the thing is, the media actually covers interracial rape very differently. So if it's black on black crime, white on white, it's different. So we're actually going to be speaking to one of the exonerated Central Park 5. His name is Yusef Abdus Salaam. So I'm excited to have him on. And then Patricia, I'm trying to wink at you.
Oh, that was a wink? I'm sorry. I thought you had something in your eyes. Then in the second hour, we're actually going to be interviewing Lisa Bloom again. She wrote the book Swagger. Look at the Swagger. Swagger, about how to raise boys in this day and age with our education system failing and mass incarceration gun violence. There's a lot of things that are affecting our boys, and we're going to talk to her and see, why she wrote a book and what she can teach us about raising boys.
It's a really awesome book, and it's really sobering. Holy, I can't wait for it to get on.
Definitely.
I'm excited about
Stanley,
that, too.
what are you talking about?
We are talking about Instagram. I know a lot of you guys probably heard about Instagram and the fact that they said in their new private policy they could sell your pictures, but then they changed that after they got public backlash. I'm going to let you know whether that's true or not, of whether they're no longer going to be selling your pictures or if it's maybe sold already.
So we have a very exciting show coming up here, and let your voice be heard. Keep tuning in. This is WATR 90.3 FM radio. Again, we're coming back with the Central Park 5. It was a great documentary, too, so stay right here.
I know they hating on us, but mind your manners.
Take a second look and you'll see. There is no one like me. There is no one like me. You better reconsider.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Hi, this is Calvin Burrell, inviting you to join me each Saturday at midnight until 4 a.m. Sunday morning for the best in reggae music, right here on WHCR 90.3 FM. Everything will be Irie.
Veterans have difficulty transitioning their military skills into civilian jobs. In New York City, an estimated 17,300 veterans are unemployed. Are you a veteran in desperate need of help? Do you want to take advantage of a life-changing opportunity? If so, the 369th Veterans Outreach Program is designed to assist veterans in Harlem and surrounding communities. Veteran services include resume preparation, interview workshops, access to interview attire, and reliable transportation. For more information, call the 369th Veterans Outreach Program at 646-533-9292.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna kick my feet up, then stare at the fan. Turn the TV on, throw my hand in my pants. Nobody's gonna tell me I can't. Nah, I'll be lounging on the couch, just chilling in my Snuggie. Click to MTV so they can teach me how to Dougie. 'Cause in my castle,
Yes, that's what he said. Chilling in my Snuggie.
I love that line.
I can see in this face that she does not like that I'm playing Bruno Mars today.
No, I said I really like that line, chilling in my Snuggie, something
mind
doing a
Bruno
Dougie.
I can never tell what your face is because usually when you repeat a line from a song, you usually don't like it. If I'm playing it,
Oh, Stanley.
Do you have a Snuggie?
Yes, I have a Snuggie.
I bet you
And
do.
I love doing a Dougie, so that's why I can
Three
relate.
of you fit in there.
oh my
I
God.
know, it's comfy.
Is just not get comfortable?
Of course it
All
is.
right.
Okay, so we're back on Let Your Voice Be Heard. We're talking about the Central Park 5. I watched that documentary, and it was very moving. Again, this was an internationally renowned case. A lot of people can just recall it happened back in 1989, and I think my mom started, when I talked about it with her, she started naming some of the Central Park boys who became victims off the top of her head. Like she was like, yes, Selena, I know exactly what happened. And then she started naming some of the racially coded terms that the press used when describing this case, such as wilding and Wolfpack, and she just could recall a lot of the details off the top of her head. So I know that a lot of people, especially here in Harlem and probably across the nation, can still remember this case. But just in case, if you can't, let me just refresh your memory. It was called The Crime of the Century by former New York City Mayor Ed Koch back in 1989 when 5 Black and Latino teen boys were accused of raping a white woman in Central Park. Now, the teens happened to be in Central Park the night that Trisha Mealy was raped. Now, Trisha, she was a 29-year-old Wall Street investment banker that lived on the Upper East Side. She was savagely beaten and raped nearly to death, and she became known as the Central Park Jogger because she actually didn't reveal her name until years later. So the more this case became popular and the more media attention that it received, all of a sudden you see journalists, reporters, people like Donald Trump just calling for the blood of the culprits or the culprit and just demanding that they be persecuted. So the NYPD and the detectives, they quickly rounded up a group of inner city teens who were associated with a group of teens in the park that night that were causing mischief. These were the 5 boys that were prosecuted. We have Anton McCrae, Kevin Richardson, Raymond Santana, Corey Rise, and Yousef Salam. They were all between the ages of 14 to 16 years old, and they all became the targets of this case. All right, so, I mean, everybody probably pretty much watches, like, SUV and cop shows where they show the interrogation process and how they get people to confess. This was actually a reality, and it was much more interrogating and aggressive and abusive than we even watch on TV shows. So get this, 24 hours, they were interrogated for 24 hours at least. And then police used intimidation tactics to coerce the teens who are already under exhaustion into confessing the rape on videotape. So they all confessed on videotape. However, their confessions were out of sync from each other, and there was no genetic evidence or witnesses to link them to the scene of the crime. However, again, the public, media, everyone is calling for these 5 boys to be prosecuted. Just regardless of the fact that they're teens, regardless of the fact that, there's no strong evidence. And they were eventually found guilty and locked up for 7 to 13 years. One of the men, Corey Rise, he was actually 16 during the trial, and he was sent to an adult prison on Rikers Island.
Wow.
And during the documentary that I watched, which was called the Central Park 5 as well, he actually explained, and he was like, being 16 on an adult prison and people knowing that you're there on a rape charge, he told, you could see the pain in his eyes of how traumatic that was. He was like, look, just take it like this. I had to grow up really fast. So they were like they were innocent kids. So after serving between 5 to 13 years for the crime, the young men, they were exonerated in 2002 based off DNA evidence when Matias Reyes actually confessed to the crime and matched the DNA found on Trisha's body that night. And again, the film I'm talking about, it's called The Central Park 5. It was released 10 years after the exoneration, and it just talks about how everything went wrong. I mean, during this time in New York City, the city was divided by class and by race. For the most part, many people were very quick to call these boys out and to prosecute them and think that they're just really guilty. But there were a few people, I think, like definitely the Amsterdam News and I think the Sun Times were like, where's the evidence? Let's not be quick to judge. And you know what this kind of reminds me of? The George Zimmerman case, even though there's 2 different trials. But when you think about it, he was saying the same testimony. He was like, let the evidence come out. Let me go to trial first.
Well, journalists like to give opinions that they shouldn't. That's not supposed to be there. I mean, unless you're writing an opinion piece, you should be talking about the facts and what you have that is proven. And that's the problem with it is. Nobody ever, you talk about this, and they might be guilty, they might not be, not in this case, in any case. But you need to just talk about, this is the evidence that we have that it is actually verifiable, that you have, and that's it. If you don't have anything, just say, we don't know yet. That's a journalist's job, and a lot of our journalists don't do that, and that's the problem with the media.
And that is very true, Patricia. So we actually have on the line Yusef Abdus Salaam. He was one of the exonerated Central Park 5. We're going to get him on the line now, and if anyone wants to call up and talk about the Central Park 5, what you think went wrong and what were the dominant factors that led to the prosecution and conviction, the wrong conviction of these 5 Black and Latino boys, you can call us up. The number is 212-650-6903. You can also tweet us at BeHeard_radio. We have people answering your tweets, and we can even read them online. So, Yusef, thank you so much for joining us here this Sunday morning on Let Your Voice Be Heard.
Well, thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate this.
Yes, definitely. And I know that the film has been out. You can actually go see it on the IFC Center. They'll be playing it for like the next couple of days, even on Christmas. It's a great film. And I just want to say, like, Yusef, what was your initial reaction when you saw this film? I think it was, I forgot which gentleman, I think it might have been Raymond who said, no, it was Kevin who said that he kind of looked at it as a healing process. It was kind of therapeutic to finally see your story being publicized. And I want to know, did you have that same reaction, or how did you feel?
Well, most of the therapy that is talked about in terms of being kind of like going through a healing process, especially with this film, isn't necessarily through the watching of the film. Or through the telling of the film, or through the telling of this true story. It's really mostly through being able to have a shared experience in the movie theater with everyone, and then afterwards, because it's a very painful film for us to watch and very painful for everyone to watch. But to go through the process and then to finally get healed through it, to finally receive some type of justice, even when people who come up to us and said, I'm so sorry that you guys went through this, and I'm so apologetic because I, for one, am one of the ones who thought you were guilty. That right there is tremendous. This film is literally changing the balance of the scales of justice that were unbalanced before, in calling for blood, as you said, and trying to lynch us. It changes that. It changes the balance, and everything is now in our favor. The truth is out, and because the truth is out, and it's out in such a way, it's hard for anyone to see this in light of what's going on and still hold this false narrative in their head. I just want to kind of clarify something that you said. You said that we were a part of a group that were causing mischief that night. What you have to understand is that when they rounded up people in Harlem, they rounded up any and every teenager that they could find. It wasn't about whether you were a part of a group that night or anything like that. It was the fact that you were a person of color and you were in the community, and they felt like because it was already a stigma around people of color, like many times I always talk about being born guilty is, just because of the color of your skin, here we were born guilty. When in reality, law tells people that you are guilty until you're proven innocent. Where in our cases, we weren't guilty until proven innocent. We were considered guilty before anything. So this is what kind of caused that climate of racism to be very, very present when you had folks like Donald Trump taking out those full-page ads calling for the reinstatement of the death penalty in our case, Pat Buchanan calling for or writing articles saying if the oldest one of them, which was Corey Wise, was hung from a tree in Central Park and the others were horsewhipped, maybe the city's park will be safe again. This is the type of climate that everything was going around. We were being railroaded in that atmosphere.
Yes, and Yousef, you brought up so many great points. If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Yousef Salam. He was one of the exonerated Central Park 5. If you want to chime in, the number is 212-650-6903. And one of the things you just touched upon, Yousef, was the fact that you were guilty before the trial even started. It was, and like you brought up, it was based on the color of your skin and your class. And it sounds like you're saying that these were the dominant factors, and we know during this time, 1989, the city was much different. We had the crack era. We had basically during this time, we had the war on drugs, and people were looking for a reason to blame someone, to blame why do we have so much crime in the city. Right. Around this time, there were about 6 murders a day in the city alone. So they wanted to escape. And I think that by putting a face and a name on who should be the big, bad, fearful crime committers, criminals, then I think it made the city feel better, or it made certain classes or certain race of people feel better about what was going on.
You're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. The unfortunate reality is if we listen to old tapes of our noted historians and people who were great in the community who were either taken out by the government or something of that nature, here we find overwhelmingly everyone saying things like we don't manufacture guns in our community. We don't manufacture drugs in our community. We don't manufacture most of the stuff that we're being charged with, but we're the ones that are being targeted as the owners of all of this stuff. And it's unfortunate because, when you have the mass public looking at the news media, everything that is mainstream media, people look at and say this is true. So if it's in the news, then it has to be true. When in fact, a lot of things that go on in the, so to speak, mainstream news media is absolutely false, and it's hard to change people's minds and people's thinking when it's already out there in the media for people to believe. Especially with the Central Park Jogger case, you got to understand as well. They had the worst pictures of us being publicized. They had the courtroom artists would draw us and make us look like we were animals. So anyone who did not know us were automatically pointing the accusatory finger, saying things like, "What's wrong with the parents of these folks? Who would raise, as Ann Coulter famously said, these feral beasts?" You know what I'm saying? Like, who would raise these people? Most of our parents were parents who were well-educated folks, were parents who were definitely about providing for the families that we were a part of. But no one asked us who we were. No one wanted to find out anything about our families. One of the great things about this film is that it paints a human face on the Central Park Five and lets people really understand the root of how devastating this was, not only for us to go through it at such a young age, but also for our families and our friends. Some of our families and friends lost their lives through this whole process. Some of our families and friends were split apart. You know, some people looked at some of us and said, "Man, those are bad seeds. We don't want anything to do with them," and disassociated themselves from us. So you can imagine that out of all of that, here now we have the truth come out. And it's not like people aren't hearing the same thing that they heard before, but you're hearing us for the first time. You're hearing the Central Park Five talk about the experience. You're seeing us on the big screen, and you're being able to make a serious connection with that, and it's so overwhelming. As Kevin Richardson said, it's a process that no one, when we came home, we were prisoners of war. The war that was placed on the communities in the darker enclaves of society. And here we were coming home from that. And as prisoners of war, we didn't receive any kind of post-traumatic stress therapy. You see what I'm saying? So for us to be able to heal and for us to be able to be sane in society again, for us to look like we weren't scarred, we have indelible scars that will never be able to surgically be removed. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And I know that has to take at least some effect on your life now, even as adults. We're speaking about this crime was at least 20 years ago. So you have, I don't want to give your age out, but 20 years later, I want to know, how has this crime this injustice still affects your life?
Well, you got to understand, this is actually more than 20 years ago. This happened in '89.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, I don't mind giving my age out. I'm 38 right now, going on 39.
Okay.
And Corey Wise says it best too. He says, man, he never was able to have a birthday party after the age of 16. He was 16 years old when he was dragged into the hells of the belly of the beast, and he was never able to have a true birthday party. So every time this film is shown, every time he's able to heal with the public, it's like he's having his birthday party all over again. I mean, this thing is so tremendous for us. This is like, healing through it all has a lot to do with the family members that support you. It has a lot to do with the community that supports you. Because as Lima Santana famously put as well, this wasn't just a sentence that was a 5 to 10 period or a 5 to 15 period of prison term. This was really a death sentence. We weren't supposed to survive prison at first. And then because we survived prison, we weren't supposed to be able to come out of prison and receive any kind of success associated with us. But because all of those things are happening now, it's like this truth is so great. You can't keep the truth crushed to the ground down.
You definitely can't. You can't.
Sorry about that, Celine.
No problem. No.
All right, Yusef, this is Stanley, the engineer. I want to kind of switch gears a little bit. We were talking about, just how bad things were for black and brown men, in the late 80s with the crack era and everything else going on. And I would argue that in some ways it's just as bad, if not worse. We have an increasingly high incarceration rate of black and brown men. And in New York, where the ratio of black to white is pretty equal, 84% of African-American males, 84% of the prison system in New York are African-American males. It's a problem that's still going on now. And, as someone who has been through the struggle and who was clearly, wrongfully accused and convicted of a crime, what do you think we can do to kind of help to reverse that process? Not even with trying to change someone else's minds, but just working within our own community.
I'm gonna tell you, we as part of the Central Park Five, we actually go out and we speak to communities of color. We speak to schools. We speak to young people, because what you're saying is very real and very, very prevalent. The fact that racism seems like it's not the same. You know, racism is very institutionalized. I mean, the fact that they can pull out statistics and say before the age of 21, you're either going to be dead or in jail. This is the statistics that they have placed upon the communities of color. And there's very, very vivid books that paint a picture of what's going on through topics like the conspiracy to destroy the black boys. But then they have another book that's equally as important, the conspiracy to destroy the black girls. You know what I'm saying? So here you got these communities of color who are being thrust into a system that, according to the 14th Amendment, you can be put back into a state of slavery. You see what I'm saying? So here we are. We may be making the same benches that schools purchase. We may be making, not that this is true, but let's say furniture that's sold in IKEA. We may be the ones that American Express uses as their phone callers to take credit card numbers and place them into the system. But yet they're going to pay us at most 50 cents an hour. You see what I'm saying? Slave wages to do a real job. Well, when they assault the communities of color, you got to understand it's really not about a conspiracy. This is a reality that goes on, and someone planned this.
Yes.
Someone planned this out, and they caused it to happen and are continuing to cause it to happen. And we have to be very, very wise and wake up to this game that they've been that's placed upon us.
We do. We're talking to Yousef Salam. He was one of the exonerated Central Park Five. Yousef, please stay on the line. You dropping knowledge over here. We're loving it. This is a great discussion we're having about the Central Park Five back in 1989. But we have to take a quick break. So stay on the line, Yousef. We'll be right back on Let Your Voice Be Heard right here on WHCR.
Why him? Shoulda took me. Never stepped in the gym again. Played ball at all, unless it was street hoops. It was then, right then, I learned more of what the streets do. Pop screaming, don't let it mislead you. I was like, yeah, in and out the ear, but only if he knew. Young buck, I didn't give a shit whether if he knew about the crack, weed,
90.3
LSD.
FM, New York.
I was already knee deep in the streets. Got shot in the shin, and he should've known then about me.
If you know the symptoms and get the facts, you'll know the signs of a heart attack. Women, listen to me, and when I'm done, if it sounds familiar, call 911.
Pain in your neck, chest,
Arms or jaw,
shortness of breath.
please tell us more. Cold sweats and nausea, tiredness,
It's time to take it
serious. Back pain, stomach pain, shortness of breath, cold sweats, nausea, dizziness. If you know the symptoms and heed the signs, you'll be around for a long, long time. Women, listen to me, and when I'm done, if any sound familiar, call 911.
Learn a song that could save your life. Get a free download at womenshealth.gov/heart attack.
Women, listen to me, and when I'm done, if any sound familiar, call 911. If any sound familiar, call 911.
A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
How do we handle this issue?
There are a lot more risky behaviors in drinking or drug use that affect sexual activity.
You might build a community. The police officers make more of an attempt to talk to people. They're going to be people who just don't like the cops. So when we have our guns, then, what's the solution?
Do you welcome homosexuals in your church, Pastor?
I'm never going to treat you differently. Never going to put you down. I'm going to say this to you, though. I'm not gay.
They're not stripping or searching or frisking me.
Let Your Voice Be Heard radio.
Every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we are back on Let Your Voice Be Heard on 90.3 FM WHCR, the voice of Harlem. And we are here with Mr. Yousef of the Central Park Five. And we're having a really good conversation. Yousef is definitely dropping some knowledge. If you have any questions or comments, you can give us a call on 212-650-6903. Or you can tweet us at BeHeard_radio. We really want to hear what everyone has to say about this. This is a really serious topic, something that we all need to be more aware of. And, just bring it out there. The truth needs to be heard. So
Yes, and I'm so glad that the truth behind the Central Park Five is being heard. I think we have a call on the line, Stanley. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks.
Okay, so one of the huge factors in this case, and something that's extremely prevalent, is the color and the person who was raped. Again,
Nice.
she lived on Upper East Side, so class has a lot to do with it too. She was an investment banker in Wall Street, and during this time that she was raped in Central Park, there was actually another woman raped. I think it was Brownsville, and she was raped and thrown off the roof of her building. But where was
Horrendous.
where was the
I mean, I'm really glad that you
attention?
brought that up, Selena. Hi, Yousef. This is Patricia. You know, I was listening to, you know, your testament, and I'm kind of floored. I'm a little bit, I don't even have words to say, like, how much I feel for what you went through. And, you know, as an advocate for women that are raped, it hurts me when this situation happens. And, you know, when Selena brought this up about the girl in Brownsville that was also raped at the same time and thrown off a roof, and there was no media coverage, it brings me back to this. It's not so much about, and it is, that we target Black and brown men for these horrible, horrendous crimes, but that she was a white woman. She was an Ivy League educated woman. She had all this going. It's just like, how dare they do this to this perfect individual? And I mean, I know that you see so much about it, but in your community, I know that rape happens so much to us, Hispanic and Black women, and nothing happens to it. I mean, do you feel that you would want to advocate for these girls that nobody cares to look for the people who commit those crimes against them?
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something that's crazy, because light has to be shed upon everything that goes on that's unjust when it happens to people of color and people who are not of color. And I'm going to tell you the wild part about this case that a lot of people fail to realize, and I'm so happy that what was brought up was the fact that this was a white woman and we were people of color, is the fact when they found her, they took her to Metropolitan Hospital because they thought she was a Latina woman. And when they figured out that she wasn't, they quickly removed her from Metropolitan and placed her in a different hospital to receive the care that she got.
Well, Yousef,
Wow.
Yousef, do you know this for sure, or is this something like you've heard? Like, can you confirm this?
This is. I mean, all you got to do is go back to the newspaper articles back in
Right, so it's
1989.
factual.
She was initially put into Metropolitan Hospital.
Wow.
The document that they used, and this is how deep this is, the document they used to save her life was a document that was put together by my aunt. She works at Metropolitan Hospital, and she created the document to be used to save people's lives in situations of trauma like that.
What do you mean by document used? Well,
I mean the protocol.
The protocol
In other
for
words,
rape victims.
Okay.
Yeah, someone is assaulted.
Yeah.
They have to figure out what's the best method. So, like, they have hospitals that are great hospitals that they will only take, let's say, shooting victims to Lincoln Hospital for one. If you get shot, the best hospital for you to go to is Lincoln Hospital. Second after that, it's probably Harlem Hospital.
Sexual assault victims there's units, and they have rooms, and they have medical expertise in center hospitals. And if a woman is found like that, we'll take it to the hospital.
Wow.
Clearly, they didn't know that she was white, and they took her to
Definitely. So we actually have a caller on the line. Her name is his name is Ujima. Well, that's kind of like a unisex name.
It is.
And Ujima, let your voice be heard. Do you have a comment or a question?
Why, certainly. First of all, assalamu alaikum, Brother Yousef.
Wa alaikum salam.
And how are you doing?
I'm definitely doing great.
Okay, yes, I just wanted to commend you and all the other members of the quote-unquote Central Park Five for putting in perspective what has happened, not only in your case, but to a lot of our people, both Black and Hispanic, in this country, and reminding us of our obligation and our responsibility to be what we've always been as a people, be conscious of America, and I cannot help but remember the situation with the Scottsboro boys, and how that relates to this case, as well as it seems like every time you turn around, there's another case and another situation that we're going through as a people, and we have to do what you're doing, and stay on the case, keep informing the people, and get involved.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone always said back when the Scottsboro boys came, and they said, never again will we do something like this. But we are the modern day Scottsboro boys. You look at this thing with Trayvon Martin down in Florida, and it's like outrageous that you would think that someone would hunt someone down, especially after they're on the phone with the police officers, and the police officers are telling them, don't follow this man or don't follow this boy, leave him alone, we will be there. And this guy kills him based on some stand your ground laws. And then right after that, somebody's playing music in their car, regardless of whether it was loud or not, and is assaulted by a man because he feels like he can, and he shoots them in the car.
Jordan
and kills
Davis,
one of them.
yes.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, this stuff is like a never-ending story. But one of the things that I want to speak about too, as well, is like what the brother said on the phone about this obligation that we have. I mean, you know, going to prison taught me so much. You know, here we had time to read, time to educate ourselves, and time to grow. And one of the things that was so powerful was reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. You know, he really drove home for me the reality a lot of people face in the community. I mean, we're given the worst end of the stick, but the worst part about it is that we don't realize that if we are doing, let's say, wrong things in the community, let's say we're out there selling drugs, or we're out there pimping women, or we're out there taking one kind of drug and mixing it with something to make another kind of drug, you know what I'm saying? We don't realize that it's because of the lack of education and information that we have that we can't be those chemists, those managers, those people that organize the community, because we've been told that we can't be that. We've been given a limitation on the information that we put into our brains. You know, especially when Malcolm said that when he was in elementary school, he told the teacher something like he wanted to be a lawyer or something like that. I forget the exact profession that he wanted to go in.
He was a lawyer.
And the teacher said, oh, no, you would be better doing this. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we're treated in the communities. We're not given, not enough people are telling us who and what we can be. Even in the light of the fact that we have a black president, we have to understand that this is a semblance of what we can be. But if no one is telling us that we can aspire to be the same, then we will not reach out there and try to make it happen.
Very true.
You know, we have to say, you know what? I'm going to tell you something that's wild about this. So back in 1989, back in 1990, maybe even probably 1987, styles and culture really don't change. I was one of those young guys who used to walk around with my pants sagging, you know? And I was about that skinny as you can see me on the TV. I was very, very slim, you know, but I was about 6'3" back then. This elder, this is why we have to continue to tell people the truth. An elder in the community said to me, did you see yourself when you walked out of the house this morning? Wow. And I'm like, man, this guy don't know what he's talking about. I'm hip. He's an old fogey. He don't know what he's talking about, you know. And I kind of like just brushed him off. But as soon as he walked away, I looked at one of those mirrors on 125th Street, and I looked crazy. I said, wow, I look really bugged out. You know, I never wore my pants like that again. People always say people are not judged, like you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Everyone judges based on what they see. You see somebody walking down the street and things don't look right, you will cross the street.
You're absolutely right.
You know what I'm saying? Or if you in the hood and you see something that looks a little strange, I guarantee you the brothers know what I'm talking about. We're going to bop a little harder. You know what I'm saying? We're going to make them know, like, hey, if it goes down over here, you know, it's going to be a real hard one, you know?
You're about that
but
life.
a lot of that is we're putting that energy out there, and we have to also understand that we can change our realities by putting the positive energy out there, putting worthy energy out there, just like I think it may have been the great Farrakhan or Brother Reverend Al Sharpton said something during the State of Black America, that when you look in a mirror, the mirror should also reflect what you see, but you should also be able to correct what you see.
Yes. Al Sharpton said that, and I remember that quote that he said, don't just when you wake up in the morning, you fix yourself up, and that's what we need to do as a community.
Yeah, Yusef, and speaking of fixing ourselves up, we have a lot of listeners who are, between the ages of, 18 to 29, 30, and who aren't necessarily on the right path or don't know where they're going. And I really want you to take out a moment to tell us about your experience in jail. Jail is not a joke. Give it very briefly. Tell us about your experience while locked up.
I'm going to tell you, man, it's hard for me to go back and to really, really give people vivid experiences of jail because, you know, what you're saying is so true. But I want to say this, and I'm going to try to speak to it. What I want to say is you cannot go to jail and run the jail. A lot of people have this false notion that they're going to be running a prison. They think prison is a badge of honor. They think to go to jail means that you got a stripe under your belt. And that's one of the reasons why they give us high fives, because initially it was like, man, these guys went to prison and they was 15 and 16 and 14 and they came home and they still able to stand up straight. Listen, it's not about that. When you go to jail, you will not be able to see what you want to see, do what you want to do, be what you want to be, hug who you want to hug, go outside when you want to go outside. You will not be able to do anything. You will be under the control of the man. And we all know who the man is when they talk about the man, you know. When I got to jail, I was in Clinton, Dannemora when they sent me upstate. I was in a prison where they had officers that had tattoos on their arms of little black babies with nooses around their neck. You got to understand the reality of that. These people will kill you. You know what I'm saying? These people will put stuff in your food to cause your demise. These people would cause all kind of other stuff that happens. These people will let people rape you in jail. Everything that goes down because they allow it. If they tell you, hey, you got 5 minutes, when Corey Wise and Michael Briscoe first went to Rikers Island, I'm sure the officers told the inmates, y'all got 5 minutes to do to them whatever y'all want to do. But after the 5 minutes is up, you know, legally we have to sound the alarm and stop it. But y'all got 5 minutes. And they beat the crap out of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
they beat the crap out of them.
Yes. And this is such a traumatic experience, but I'm so glad that Stanley brought that up, and I'm so glad that hopefully, and I know that some young brothers can learn from this and just see, like you said, the harsh realities of institutionalized racism, of classism, of these social ills, and how it disproportionately affects and hurts black and brown minorities. But with our voice, with our platform, with the Central Park 5 documentary, we can fight and achieve and make sure that the next generation growing up is doing better and is aware and is empowered with the tools in order to fight back. One of the last questions I want to just ask you, Yousef, is I know that you and the other 4 exonerated men have filed a class action lawsuit against the city of New York. So I want to know, what type of justice are you demanding now? What type of retribution are you looking for apology besides just the class action lawsuit? Do you want an apology from Donald Trump and other people, and do you think that you will be able to receive this justice? I mean, the first time the truth came out, now this is like, you know, the second time around. What is it that you want and you think you deserve?
Yeah, you got to understand too. The first time the truth came out, it came out around the same time that Trisha Mealy had wrote her book and released the book to the public. Mm-hmm. For the first time, people knew her name, and you got to understand as well that for 13 years. I mean, the truth came out 13 years later, which is supposed to be an unlucky number for most people in this country. But 13 years later, the truth comes out, and for 13 years, Patricia Mealy had been told that we were the ones that assaulted her. There are so many victims in this trial and in this case. She was victimized in the worst way because she was violated sexually, but she was also continuously victimized by people telling her the wrong thing, the wrong information, and her believing it. You know, she has absolutely no memory of what happened to her. But the reality is that if you're told this is the missing information, the missing gap of what you need, you're going to believe that. You know, I mean, for us, we filed we filed our lawsuits. We hope, as so many right now are apologizing to us, which is great and tremendous for us. It causes us to heal, but at the same time, we know people like Donald Trump ain't going to apologize to us. You know what I'm saying? We can't even name him in our lawsuit. Our lawsuit should include him, but we would have had to file lawsuits against him back in 1989 for defamation of character.
I just want to clarify, because Donald Trump took out ads in different newspapers calling for the death penalty surrounding this case, and that's what you're speaking about, right, Yousef?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And the other thing that I wanted to bring out also, just in light of us being wise in the community is that we need, and this is something that we advocate for, we need to be able to understand what law is and how we can apply law. Because when you have policies like stop and frisk, when you have things like, first of all, officers are not allowed to search you illegally unless they have a warrant. And so if they come up to you and they tell you, even if you have something illegal in your pocket, what do you got in your pocket? Don't let me find it. You better take it out now, and I'll be easier on you if you take it out. They don't have the right to go into your pocket in the first place. But see, if we don't know the law, like I said many times in my Q&As, I was in L.A. the last month, and I told the people in L.A., many New Yorkers would argue that you are not a New Yorker unless you know about jaywalking. You jaywalk, that's a part of being a New Yorker. And so the guy kind of leaned over and said, man, in L.A., they give you real tickets for that.
Oh, wow, really?
And I said, wow, I didn't know that. I know it's illegal in New York City, but most people would argue that they don't know that jaywalking is illegal.
Yeah.
People jaywalk all the time, but it's illegal. We don't know simple law. We don't know simple things, but we are always the ones who are on the other side of the stick when the law is being applied to us.
That is so true, Yousef. Thank you so much for joining us here on Let Your Voice Be Heard. We do have to wrap up this discussion. Again, we were speaking to Yousef Salam. He was one of the exonerated of the Central Park 5, but we learned so much up here at the studio, and I know that you guys you learned too. Thank you for the callers. Thank you for the tweets. This is about empowerment. This is about education. This is about using what we know and how people are victimized in certain communities and certain demographics to empower ourselves, to rise above, and to basically collectively fight again, fight the good fight. This is about justice. To this day, Yousef and the other Central Park 5 have not received the justice or retribution, the apologies that they deserve after giving up their teen years and going through such a traumatic experience that affected the rest of their lives. Of course, the victim, Trisha, she, our hearts go out to her as well, and we're glad that she made a recovery. I think she made like a full recovery from that. But Yousef made a great point. She was still being victimized because she was still being told that these 5 boys are the people that raped you.
Exactly. If a woman cannot remember what occurred to her, you can't make her say that she did something. She doesn't remember. That's it. End of story. The testimony is what's on her body, not what she can say.
That's and thank you so much. So we do have to, we just wrapped up. We have to go to a break. This is Let Your Voice Be Heard. Again, thank you so much, Yousef. Everyone that's listening, keep tuning in. We have more. We're coming back with a news roundup, as well as we're going to be talking about raising our boys. That means masculinity, manhood in America. So stay tuned.